Viewer discretion is advised. This is The Tea is Toxic. Hello, my teacups. I hope you guys have been having a great February so far. I hope it's been really productive. I'm going to be dropping this on Valentine's Day, although it has nothing whatsoever to do with love, unless we're talking about the love of money, the love of diamonds, the love of things, right? Diamonds are forever. But we're going to get into the episode in a little bit. Like I said, I hope you guys have been having a really good February. Mine has been real chill, y'all. I just been rubbing my feet under the covers, giggling and watching shows, right? Like, just chilling, having a good time with me, myself, and I. And no complaints on that. If you guys have plans for Valentine's Day, what is it going to be? So, hear me out. And if you hear me popping my gum, just go ahead and deal with that. But for Valentine's Day, I think I want to take myself out. So, here's the catch. I am a Marvel fan. I don't do DC too much. DC, they want to build a whole plot around it. Marvel will open up the whole movie just murdering people. Like, Marvel does not care. That's how I like it. Let's get straight to the action. I don't care about the love story. If I wanted to watch something that had to do with a love story, I would tune into The Notebook. Give me the action. Give me the pizzazz, the bang, the boom. And Marvel always delivers. So that being the case, Valentine's Day actually has Captain America coming out. I don't remember what the last end of the part is. I don't know, Brave New City. I don't know, whatever. But I definitely want to tune into that. But the catch is, all throughout the country, 4D theaters have been popping up. And the 4D theater is like more of a simulation with the movie, like the seat will rock, there'll be like bigger booms, bangs. I don't know if it like spits out like air and stuff like that, but it's a full engrossed like experience with the movie. So I want to go to a 4D movie to see Captain America. So I get the full experience, have my little popcorn, my little slushy drink, and just have a good time. Y'all, go ahead and comment what it is you have going on for Valentine's Day. If you have anything going on for Valentine's Day, are you the situationship that gets, February 15th? Let me know. Today's episode is really interesting. It's a little funny to me just because it's like, wow, really, sis? But, we're going to talk about it. It's like, I guess you can call it granny goals. Granny goals. So we're going to get into the story right now, and I hope you guys enjoy it. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, follow. You can catch me on Instagram, Dear Mother, MUTHA Earth, which is a lot of reels and funny things, but I will be going live on there very soon, so check me out there, and we're going to get right into it. Okay, you guys, so Doris, quote, Diamond Payne, was born in Slab Fork, West Virginia, to a coal miner named David Payne and his wife, Clemmy Gilbert Payne. She was one of 6 siblings. She had 4 brothers, Albert, Clarence, David Jr., and Johnny, and then a sister named Louise. She was the youngest, very protective of her mother. And the reason she was super protective, it's back in the day. You guys already know what time it is. Pops, he likes to not keep his hands to himself. So she was very serious about her mother, to the point where seeing that treatment that her mother experienced, she knew immediately, like almost right out the womb, I don't even want relationships, right? I'm not trying to be under the thumb of a man. I'm not trying to have somebody else control my own destiny. I will walk on this earth on my own without the static of a relationship, So the town that Doris, she grew up in, it was segregated, of course, low income, coal mining town. Now, you guys, this is like in like the 30s, I believe it is. And so these things go without saying, especially depending on the part of the country that a lot of people were living in. A lot of people were disenfranchised, whites, blacks, all of the above, So it wasn't a great time unless you really made great money. But for the average American working in the coal mines, working as housekeepers, things like that, they weren't making a whole lot of money. They were just, barely getting by. Now, because of the number of children and the modest jobs that her parents had, Doris did not grow up with a lot of money. So she started to get a really big imagination very early on, where she would like to pretend to be other people. She'd like to window shop. She would dress up, put on different hats. She'd walk around like she was a little rich lady. She would call this game Miss Lady, right? But her ability to like disguise herself and pretend to be different people is the reason why she grew up to be the world's best jewelry thief and career criminal. Now, Doris started the jewelry game in her teenage years. When she was growing up, because it was a segregated world, she did have incidents where she would go into shops. The shop owners who were white would be kind to her, especially at a jewelry shop that she used to enjoy going to. But then as soon as someone white would enter the store, they would treat her poorly. They would treat her like shit to keep up with the times, to keep up with the look, right? This Doris wasn't feeling, but she knew how to find a way to get back, right? She worked smarter, not harder. And she would do little sly shit. So one time she was at the jewelry store, the incident happened. She grabbed a piece of jewelry, right? When the jeweler wasn't looking. And then as soon as she got near the exit, she stopped and she said, "Oh, you forgot this one." As if they never, like as if they gave that to her. This was intentionally done to taunt and embarrass the shopkeeper in front of other white patrons, so that it would look like they didn't have control of their stuff, like they didn't know what they were doing. They're, messy. Now, as a young adult, Doris ended up moving to Cleveland and she became a hospital nurse. Okay, that wasn't paying a whole bunch of money, but she was making it work. And on her downtime, she would go to Pittsburgh to window shop. Now, it's in Pittsburgh where she stole her first diamond. She ends up pawning the diamond for cash. And then she gives that money to her mother and tells her mother, "Bitch, it's time to leave this man. It's time to get away from this man, okay? Enough is enough. No more punches to the face. Get up from under him. You have cash. Get out of town." Okay? The theft that Doris did with that jewelry store was so easy that she was like, you know what? I should try this again. And she started to build this way that she would work with the owners and the workers and things like that, where she would gain their trust. And then over the gaining of the trust, just over small little things she was doing while she was, quote, window shopping with them, it would have them caught off guard where they wouldn't even expect that she would rob them. Okay? She'd do like she did as a kid. Dress in expensive clothing, jewelry. And then when she got to the jewelry store, she would have the jeweler spread all the pieces out, several of them, okay, across the counter. Then Doris would do this hand game of pretending to inspect the jewelry, but she's moving them around in different spots at the same time. Almost like how you see when they say, "Where's the ball?" and they put the cup under the ball under the cup. How do you put a cup under a ball? That's so foolish. They put a ball under a cup, they start moving the cup around, right? That's how Doris was moving the jewelry. She's like picking that up. Oh, nice. Puts it down. Pick that one. Oh, nice. Puts it down. Pick that one up. Put that one on her finger. Pick another one. Look at it. Put it down. And she's going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Right? And she would always put it in different spots. So it was like the jeweler couldn't keep up between seeing how she's moving and her holding this conversation and being so casual about the conversation, right? And then she'd put a diamond ring on her finger. Then she'd pick up another ring, put that down, put the diamond ring down, put another ring on her hand. And on she would go, multiple pieces at a time. Now she's built the trust and rapport with the jeweler. She's got them locked in with the conversation. She's also going ahead and picking up all these different pieces up and down, up and down, up and down, right? Then she'll grab one when they're not looking, and she would pretend like she was looking for that specific piece because that's the one she really was interested in. Oh, where was that red ruby diamond ring at? I don't see that anywhere. And now they're looking around, they're frazzled. And then oh, I found it. And she would act like she found it even though she had it. And that's where the trust would just really lock in. And they're like, oh, this woman, she can be trusted, even though this is the times that we live in. She was able to find this jewelry. She could have walked out the store with this and she didn't. And that's the peak of earning the jeweler's trust. Now, y'all, this is not a blueprint to how to rob people. PSA. This ain't no blueprint on how to rob people. Don't go out here talking about some Doris did it and I was listening to the Tea is Toxic and the Tea is Toxic said if I pick up jewelry a lot. That's not what this is. Stop playing with me, you guys. Okay? But that's how Doris did her thing. Okay? She knew that being good at this line of work wasn't about trust or luck so much as it was about having the talent to make people forget. So they're forgetting about those pieces of jewelry. And she knows that's working in her favor. Because while we're looking for this red ruby, she's picked up a 2,000 carat diamond. I'm being dramatic, y'all, but you get what I'm saying. She said that if they could forget it, she would be able to get the money for it. Now, Doris' first big heist was at 23 years old. In 1952, she walked out of a Pittsburgh jewelry store with a diamond ring valued at $20,000. Okay? Now, this is 1952. $20,000 right now is the equivalent of $238,192.45 today. She knew this was a big deal. It got her so nervous that she started to get paranoid. She spent the night at a Greyhound bus station. And then she even thought about returning it to them. She's headed to the jewelry store, and on her way going to the jewelry store on the same street, there's a different store. She walks into that retail store, and then she ends up selling the ring for $7,000. So she made a decent profit, you guys, because all in all, that $7,000 in 1952 today is worth $83,367.36. And I know it's like, why didn't you go to a different jewelry store? Y'all, come on, she stole it. That's still a win. A win is a win, right? From that moment on, stealing jewelry became Doris's full-time job. Over time, Doris was so good at her crimes that she was able to get her family out of financial debt. She bought several homes for her mother, including a 4-bedroom home in the suburb of Cleveland. Now, in between being a jewelry thief, she did end up having 2 children, but she never married the dad because, remember, she wasn't trying to be up under anybody's thumb. She also had no interest in being a full-time mother, so she was like, you can have them, you good, here are the babies, I will fund you and the children, and she did. She preferred to pay that child support, and she paid it well because that's what she did for a living. She stole. Now, Doris traveled to North America from Los Angeles to Montreal, Canada. And the constant stealing also meant she was learning even more as she went along. See, Doris realized that if she convinced jewelers to bring out more than 5 pieces of jewelry at a time, then they were robbed, they were less likely to call the police, because if the police get called about it, then the police have to report the negligence to the insurance company. And then that stirs a whole different set of issues, right? So she learned how to make the theft the fault of the shop owner or the worker and the jeweler so that she could never be reported. Now, in 1957, Doris started dating an Israeli underground criminal named Anatol Braunfeld. His nickname was Babe. Now, the connection to Babe proved useful because when she was identified in a Philly jewelry heist, Babe called on his lawyers and they had her out in no time, okay? She had pled guilty to the plea, no time served. Only probation. The problem is that her photo was now in the papers. And this meant that Doris couldn't go to bigger jewelry stores that she had gone to in all these different demographics. She had to change it up with smaller towns and cities. In 1968, Babe did die, so her plug was gone, unfortunately. She had lost the maintenance man, y'all. And therefore, she lost her legal connection. She realized things were getting a little dangerous in the United States, and that's when Doris decided to start stealing around the world. So she left the country, travels to Europe. In Europe, she stole a ring from Cartier that was so expensive that the price tag had 9 zeros at the end of it. And when she got to the airport, the police were ready for her ass. Here's how Doris got out of it. She gets into custody, and while she's waiting to be seen, and she's behind bars, she figures out how to pry the stone out of the ring, right? Tosses the ring out the window, out the window bars. You know how that is, y'all. It's got the bars there so you can't get out, but she tosses the ring out the window. She takes the diamond itself and sews it into her girdle. Okay? The police, they do all these body searches. They can't find the ring, so now they have to let her go. She heads back to New York, and then she sells the ring for $148,000. Now, at this point, Doris had been stealing for a good decade, okay, at least 2 decades, and she had enjoyed a good challenge. Like, that was her thing. At 44 years old, her next challenge was a world-famous Bulgari jeweler in Rome. But the clerk wasn't like Doris's normal victims and wasn't ready for the tricks that Doris would run on him. You see, she slid a yellow diamond ring on her middle finger, then asked for the restroom. Instead of going to the restroom, she slips out the store and down the alley before the clerk could realize what had happened. This was a 5-day trip that ended with that theft. But the 5-day trip in total included a watch worth $55,000 from Van Cleef & Ariels, and a few diamond pieces from Harari and Company, who's a London jeweler to the British Crown. So Doris is on a roll at this point. She had become a worldwide jewelry thief with 32 aliases and at least 9 passports. However, that did all come to an end when she was caught and sentenced to 12 years in 1999 for stealing a $57,000 diamond ring in Denver. However, once again, Doris can get out of it, okay? She said, I can sell salt to it like I make anybody believe anything, baby. Because that 12 years turned out to only be 5, and she was out. Back on the streets, Doris was back to her shenanigans until 2010 when she was caught in Costa Mesa, California after ripping off the tags from a $1,300 Burberry trench coat from Saks. Now, she was also arrested in 2011 for stealing a 1-carat diamond ring and sentenced to 16 months in prison by the San Diego courts. Then in 2013, when she was detained again for stealing a 20,500 diamond-encrusted ring in Palm Deserts, California, right? So at this point, Doris is sentenced to 2 years in prison and another 2 years on parole. They end up releasing her after 3 months due to overcrowding. Now, I know you guys are like, how is this happening? Let's also remember Doris is up there at this point, okay? As you can see in these photos, by 2015, she is a much older woman. 2013, all of these ages, she's up there, okay? She can now play on the age part as well. Doris would get caught, go to court, tell the judge she won't do it again, get out, right? July 2015, she steals a $33,000 ring and then is arrested in Atlanta for stealing a $690 earring that was from Dior. It was clear at this point, which we all know, Doris has an addiction, okay? She's been doing this so long, it doesn't matter what it is. She's getting caught for some of the smallest shit at this point, okay? She's getting caught up in July 2017 because she wanted to steal Walmart items that came out to $86.22. And this is while wearing an ankle monitor. She just don't give a fuck, all right? Then December 2017, she gets hit with larceny charges. At this point, they try to grab her up. She's released on a $15,000 bond. And they tell her, girl, you cannot leave the state of Georgia. That's it. You're here. Now, her attorney had told the judges that she was too sick to stand trial and claimed that she had cancer. Now, y'all, Miss Doris is still alive to this day. So if she had cancer, she beat that too, okay? She stole the recipe and she's winning on that one. However, Doris has a 6-decade spree and has been arrested over 20 times in countries all around the world, such as Greece, France, Britain, and Switzerland. A documentary was made in 2013 about Doris' career as a criminal called The Life and Crimes of Doris Payne. Doris is known as the world's most famous and successful jewelry thief. Now, teacups, this should go without saying why I picked this woman for the Tea is Toxic today. You know, everything doesn't have to be about crime in the sense of murder, but she was killing it out here in the game. You see, during a time where Black people were overlooked, degraded, dismissed, diminished, so many other things that were very blatant, right? They try to play it off nowadays. That's a whole nother story for another day. But in that day and age, this woman was able to finagle her way through any kind of experience. She was able to walk with the best of them, talk with the best of them, you know, put on the facade of being worth more than she was. I mean, she played the hell out that role. And as you can see in the photo from her from 1965, yes, she might be of a lighter tone, but she's not passing, you guys. This woman is very clearly a black woman that entered into spaces that she was not invited to, and she made a sound, okay? She didn't make no noise. Ma'am made a sound, and she made it well. She is toxic. And I know I sound very excited about her toxicity. I'm not. Right is right and wrong is wrong. But I will say that Miss Doris Payne earned the right to be the most toxic. Hi, Nisha, my Nisha. How are you?
Good. How's your day coming along?
Girl, I'm hungry. So, it's first thing in the morning as I get ready for work, and or I'm just getting the computer turned on for work, I should say. And I'm hungry right now. And I ordered a fake healthy Big Back breakfast.
Oh, what is it?
Girl, I got a smoothie with pistachios. And anybody that knows me, they already know, that's my go-to when I don't feel like eating real
that
food.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it is, but it's not healthy at all.
It's not? What kind of smoothie is
it? It's strawberry banana with pineapple.
Oh, that
But
sounds
pistachios
good.
are high in fat or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So how are you doing?
I'm good. So far, so good.
That's what's up, Nisha. I want to talk about a few things since you're on the hot tea. I want to get into some hot topics really quick. I want to start with all the craziness that's been going on since the inauguration.
Okay.
So my question for you is, do you feel like there is more of a divide since DEI was done away with? And me personally, I feel like with DEI being gone, it's giving people the ability to be more bold and direct in their opinion of race and class and economic, hierarchy, all of that shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I know, there has been a major divide, especially for DEI, because I've been seeing a lot where people were like, well, DEI didn't really benefit black people because it was for everyone. And other people was like, well, I saw this one guy was like, well, people will depend on DEI too much anyway. Depend on your skills. Everybody's been just talking about all different things when it comes to that, And
Yeah.
I've seen people have literally been arguing about it. It's just horrible.
I mean, for me personally, I've had my experiences with it. Here's the thing. DEI, cool. I'm not too well versed in it. However, it's just, it was just a way to stop people. Okay, if I don't want to hire you because of the color of your skin, or because you're fat, or because you're short, or because you're skinny or too tall, I don't have to say that's why you didn't get hired. I'll just say we filled the position. So was it really protecting much when it comes to the lower end? See, because higher up is a little different. I was working with someone one time about getting sponsorship, and they had explained, because I'm a female, because I'm bisexual, because I am black, it starts to open up the doors for how many different sponsors, such as Cash App, Coca-Cola, things like that, will take me on. Because they have to fill a certain amount, a certain percentage goes towards different demographics. So it's that can change it. That can have a negative impact when you're trying to make shit shake and you're trying to, start projects or, do different events, and you need sponsorship. Now they're not obligated to that. But as far as the lower end of the totem pole, it's was it ever not being ignored?
I feel I didn't even think about that can close some doors. I know a lot of people would say with DEI, it was a blessing and a curse, right? Because a lot of times it was a blessing because, like you just said, they can't discriminate. But then the curse came because at the end of the day, if they as long as they meet their quota, they don't have to let anybody else in. So if they need 10% of a person of color or something like that, once they get to that 10%, they don't have to hire on the other thing. And I think
exactly.
Yeah. And I think that's what just happened recently did the Asian students just file a lawsuit about college? Because I guess, and I don't know the whole story, but I think it was like an Asian person that did not get in because, typically they have the higher scores and stuff, but they had to take, a black person in because, I guess they was trying to hit like all the quotas. So yeah, they just filed a lawsuit behind that.
Really?
Have you heard about that?
No, I haven't heard about that.
Yeah, that was in colleges. It was like in colleges. It's a big thing where they overturn affirmative action in colleges now. So now for college acceptance, race cannot even be considered now.
Really?
Yeah.
You know what? It's interesting. It's really interesting because I honestly, race should have never even been on there, right? Because what is that supposed to mean? Like, oh, you're really smart for a black person? Oh, you're really smart for an Asian? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just like, okay.
Right.
But, so, a couple weeks ago, Method Man, Method Man, fine ass, sexy ass, Method Man, yes, fine as hell. Yeah. So, sorry, hold on. So his ass was in the gym working out, and his daughter's ex-boyfriend comes in the gym, and his daughter's ex-boyfriend was abusive during their relationship. Next thing you know, he tussling, hustling, bustling, whooping ass.
Wow.
The cops get called. They put him in handcuffs. The boyfriend's like, I don't want to press charges. I'm not going to hold you. I seen the photo. Method Man was a little busted up. I can't say he lost the fight.
Oh.
You know what I mean? No. That would be crazy if he lost the fight. Because now technically, like, this boyfriend got a 2-for-1 deal on ass whoopings.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's how it sounds to me.
What would you do if your daughter's father was trying to protect her honor and got his ass beat?
Oh, well, see, because I have such a close relationship with my daughter's dad, that shit would make me hella sad, honestly. Because me and my daughter's dad, we have been through like a major roller coaster over the past like few years, right? Yes. But we're like best friends now, and like that's what he would do. He would whoop somebody's ass. But then if he got his ass whooped, I would feel so horrible because it's like he was trying to protect her,
and then got beat up.
Yes. I think I would want to go beat that person up.
Should your daughter get in trouble?
No, why would she get in trouble for it?
My daughter's getting in trouble because, first of all, why are you fucking with dudes that strong?
Oh.
Like, so you couldn't get yourself a regular teenager or a regular young man, a gentleman?
Oh.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, you really playing with a dude that's, like, lifting weights on a regular basis?
But that's a lot of women like that, though. I don't know if she should get in trouble for her preference. She was that good, strong man. Like, she doesn't know that he's going to whoop her dad's ass. She just wants those muscles.
Unfortunately, a really sad situation happened that went viral earlier in the end of last week where a sister had told her brothers about, I don't know, some dude she was messing with. They showed up to his house to handle business. He killed them both.
Oh, no.
Yeah, she got both her brothers killed with her nonsense. What? With her nonsense, yes.
So what did he do? He shot them? Or?
He shot them. Because what they did was they called themselves, like, breaking into his home. It wasn't like it was, like, middle of the night breaking. Like, you think you're going to kick somebody's door down, but you don't know what's on the other end of that door?
Yeah.
It was like one of those.
Oh, no.
And it's like, technically speaking, this man's not going to really do any time. I don't think he's going to do any time at all because it's breaking and entering.
Yeah, I don't think he's going to do any time at all because, yeah. And that's the sad thing about it. Not for that, because they have the castle doctrine where you can protect your house.
Mm-hmm.
And it sounds like, so they kicked his door in. Yeah, they're not going to do his time.
Yeah. And she got both her siblings killed. And it's a shame. Mm-hmm.
Well, I can imagine the guilt. I can imagine the guilt that she's going to have to live with. Like, she's thinking she's just messing around and, whatever. And then, her siblings get killed. She's going to have to live with that for the rest of her life.
For the rest of her life being messy. Being messy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself, was it even worth it? I think as as a society, we're so focused on what we consider disrespect. We got to do shit for off the principle and all that other nonsense. And it's like, if you slept on it for even 24 hours, is it as serious the next morning as it was the day before?
Yeah. Sometimes you got to give yourself a chance to just kind of calm down, you know what I mean? And most of the time, because I've been super mad, like, I've been just like crazy. And then, somebody like breaks the fight up, or somebody wouldn't let me get to that person. And the next day I'm fine, because your anger does start going down after a minute.
I think we really have to start figuring out ways to be more logical rather than emotional in moments and situations that happen to us. It's like, okay, you could turn up, but then at the end of the day, what did it serve? Like, what was the reason? What was the reason? You know what I mean? Like, no purpose whatsoever. No purpose whatsoever. Where is our baby Luca? So, since TikTok came back, a few things that haven't shown up.
Okay.
Luca Giglion or whatever, Gangion, whatever.
Oh, you're talking about our baby daddy, Luigi?
Yes.
Gangion.
Oh, Luigi.
Oh, yeah. Okay. So, are they hiding him now? Because we used to see him on the court and all that. Where the fuck is he?
So, he disappeared. All the aliens disappeared.
I think that they really don't want us to see him no more because of how we were acting. Remember, we were so thirsty for him.
and on his side. We were like, okay. And then, another thing that was wild. So, remember all those Diddy documentaries started dropping. Phenomenal work on HBO's part, right? You could tell it, like, was supposed to keep going. It just randomly came to a halt after like the 5th episode, and it was dropping like weekly, and then it just stopped. And I didn't watch Peacock's, but now it's like, oh, he's suing Peacock, he's suing these people, he's suing those people. Like,
yeah, it really did used to. Yeah, every single week we used to see something about it, right?
Yeah, and now it's hush hush. But what's being said allegedly, is that Diddy's lawyer tried to back out of being his lawyer when he got the paperwork in about everything that he had done, because one of the things that was on there was that he was eating human flesh. Like, he was eating people.
Who? What?
Girl.
They said Diddy was eating people?
That he was eating people.
So after they was dead, he would eat them like Dahmer did? Is that
what I was seeing on the TikTok stratosphere was that these people were not dead.
Wait, what? How do you eat somebody alive?
I mean, he's a Scorpio, so isn't that their daily activity? One thing about a Scorpio, they're going to be a scorpion, right? Literally.
Oh my gosh, he's outdone Dahmer. If that's true, he's outdone Dahmer.
Right. And I was watching the HBO documentary because I wanted to save. I know Peacock, they do their thing, but HBO is HBO. You know what I mean? And so I was watching on HBO because there were two separate kinds of documentaries. And it was crazy because I was like, this shit is so triggering. Like, it was very reminiscent because my father's a Scorpio, right? And he was like a raging alcoholic when I was growing up and shit. And both my parents are narcissists. And so it was so triggering because the things that Diddy was doing is the things I've seen happen my entire life, but on a grander scale based off of, like, his wealth.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But my parents, they're not poor. They're not, you know what I mean? They have money. And so, I've seen those kinds of behaviors my entire life. And so when people were explaining it, I was like, he really did all that shit. Like, that shit is not pretend. He did that.
Oh my God.
Girl, yes.
Oh, that's the tea right there. Because I'm sitting, I have so many questions. Like, obviously these people was drugged up, right? Because it's like, how are you going to sit there and be eaten off of? It's like, I don't.
So some people were drugged. Some people were not. It seemed like it depends. So they didn't get an opportunity to really get into, like, the victims. Like, okay, there were victims who were drugged. But then there are those, like, I forget what homegirl's name is that was all over TikTok saying that she was one of the foster children that was sold into the game. right?
Oh, yeah.
Those kind of situations. But it seemed like a lot of things started with making sure that you were fucked up before even
Yeah.
getting into any shit.
Yeah.
So that's what's been going on. I mean, I don't know why they're keeping the case so hush hush now. We already know. And the thing I resent about it is y'all were really loud and proud about R. Kelly. Y'all were really loud and proud about Cosby. Y'all made sure to rip Michael Jackson to shreds even 10 years after he died. Oprah ass came out with an entire fucking series on him. But now we're quiet about Diddy, Sean Combs. Now all of a sudden that's where we draw the line. That's where it gets hushed.
Well, that probably, I mean, if he threatened to sue everybody, that probably made them shut the fuck up. Because, like,
He ain't getting out of jail. So it's like,
right.
What are y'all afraid of? Paying his commissary?
Right, but that's the thing when it comes to money. It's like, because he could still sue their ass from jail. It's just that he would, win some money. But the thing is, you can't sue for defamation. If any of that stuff is true or anything like that, you can't sue for defamation. That's the thing, too. So I don't know.
I wonder if that's the reason why they put a halt on it. Because now the things people were saying is in the transcripts or in, like, the legal documents that's making them go, okay, y'all got to shut this down because he can't sue now. Because there's proof of it. I wonder.
Yeah.
I wonder
that too.
Craziness. Nisha, I'm not going to hold you up, girl. I just wanted to give you a little bit of the tea that's been happening over the month of February. Do you want to let everybody know where they can find you?
Yes, Hot Garbage True Crime Edition. We now drop on Tuesdays and Thursdays on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, any podcast platform. And, we're also on Instagram, Hot Garbage Show, Facebook, Hot Garbage True Crime, and TikTok, Hot Garbage True Crime.
Thank you so much, Anisha. I had a blast with you yet again, bitch. Till next time. Talk to you later.
Talk to you later. Bye.
I was raised in a 2-parent home. My parents met when they were young in college, and they're still together to this day, which sounds like a beautiful love story. But the problem is, growing up, and even in my adult life, what I'd come to realize is that my parents had issues, real problems. And I learned, without them getting diagnosed for anything, that what they had was narcissistic personality disorder. Now, what is that? It's a mental health condition in which people have an unreasonable high sense of their own importance. They need and seek too much attention and want people to admire them. People with this disorder may lack the ability to understand or care about the feelings of others. That's definitely the house that I grew up in. But to put it in more layman's terms, I grew up with 2 individuals that did not hold themselves accountable to their actions, blamed others for their problems, didn't take responsibility for how they treated each other or spoke to each other in front of their children. It just was a really shitty horror show. And I saw and experienced and viewed things that really altered the way that I handled relationships and the way that I handled people. One of my biggest fears was to end up in that same kind of toxic relationship. And unfortunately, because I was trying to heal and break free of those traumas and that kind of bondage, I found myself going right into it because it was a familiar experience. I only knew and understood that version of love. I only knew and understood the idea of manic highs or furious lows and nothing in between. I was in a broken home. And a lot of times people think, well, a broken home is when there aren't 2 parents. No, nay, you guys. A broken home is one that is not teaching you how to thrive and successfully function in this world. There's a song that I love on a Swiss Beats album where the quote says, how are you going to raise a savage and then deny the rabies? And as I grew older, I realized I had to try and expunge the rabies myself from my own body. Those negative traits that were passed down on me. Manipulating, lying, cheating, stealing, taking advantage of, and all of these things that were taught, talking nasty. I mean, the things that you see when it comes to how someone treats and belittles another person. These are all learned behaviors. And we, as adults, the new adults, have to stop using our experiences of childhood as an excuse to continue that generational curse. We have to get to a point where we remove the chains from our minds, remove the shackles from our arms and our feet, our wrists, whatever. And we have to get to a place where we go, I'm better than this. I don't need to display the same kind of behavior. I don't need to have people feel the way that I felt growing up. One of the ways that I've learned to do that is to just use more time being quiet rather than having a response to everything. How can I say that I'm hearing actively what anyone has to say if I only hear enough to respond? So this week, outside of my little traumas, what I would suggest everyone does is let's use more time doubling down on listening than speaking so that we can really understand the people that we invite into our lives and want to stay there. Because we're in a day and age where people are not just going to stick around with bullshit. And if you love someone and you want them there with you, listen to them, have a heart, and be blessed.